everybody? Welcome to another episode of Friends Talking Nerdy. This is the sexiest voice in podcasting today, Tim Jousma. With me, I've got...
Okay, sexy voice. Yeah, this is Kim, the cynical geek. But I am... I'm Kim the Geek on Twitter. And that's me.
We are here for another week of our unique brand of lunacy to hopefully entertain you for the next hour or so with whatever crosses our mind. One thing I wanted to bring up before we start the show proper. Friend of the show had a death in the family.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was Tracy Flynn. Her stepdad passed away in Texas. I don't, off the top of my head right now, recall all of the specifics, but however, with everything going on in the world, there is a GoFundMe because, again, with everything going on in the world, it's going to cost a lot more money to resolve this than, it normally would be. So, what I'm going to do, in the past, I would have read off the entire website, and go to the GoFundMe.com. What I'm going to say is this, ultimately, on any type of a podcast service that our show is on, I'm going to put the link in the show description, so from there you're going to be able to go. If you can contribute, great. Again, she's a friend of the show, a friend of me. Definitely recommend helping out if you can. If you cannot help out financially, retweet. Sometimes it's just a simple matter of a retweet. Sometimes, there are definitely people that traverse social media looking for GoFundMes like this, and then just something about them just makes them decide this is the one I'm going to contribute to. So even a retweet is going to be appropriate in this particular time.
Honestly, if I had the money, I would probably be just going on the GoFundMe site and just like, who's got it worse today? Let me try and make their lives a little better. But unfortunately, I don't have that kind of money. So,
but we do have a platform. We have a platform. Not the biggest platform in the world, but it's here. It's a platform nonetheless. It's a platform, and every week, ever since A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood movie came out, every episode we've ended with Mr. Rogers singing. Mm-hmm. And, our show can get a little loony at times. It can get a little crazy.
Just a bit.
Just a little bit.
A little bit.
But, at the end of the day, anybody that's been associated with this show from day one till today, I want to make sure that we do what we can to make a positive impact in the world.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, and, a situation like this, again, if you have the ability, contribute monetarily. If you do not have the ability to contribute monetarily, please consider going to the show description. The link for that GoFundMe will be in the description. Just click on it, share it on your social media platforms to help out because everything's fucked up. Speaking of which, we're going to be talking about some precautions that we can take in this particular time.
Yeah, masks. Masks are becoming mandatory in some stores. I just read that Costco has now made masks mandatory. You don't go in the store if you don't have a mask. Oof. So the thing is with masks, it can be anything. At this point, anything can be a mask. You can take a bandana and tie it around your face. You can make your own. There's all kinds of tutorials out there on YouTube and stuff. You can make your own masks out of like old t-shirts, things like that. You probably have at least one friend who can make masks. More than likely. I know I do. There's a lot of people out there making masks. You can buy them on Etsy from people who are making their own masks. I bought a couple on Etsy.
I know two people off the top of my head. One of them including Tracy, who is making masks for people.
Yeah, there's lots of people out there. But the thing is, if you're one of those lucky people like myself and Tim who have to wear glasses to see, sometimes wearing a mask can be a pain in the butt because
pain in the tuchus.
Pain in the tuchus because it's going to fog your glasses up. I got some tips for you.
Yeah, baby. Fuck yeah. What are those fucking tips?
Dude, I'm not high-fiving that. That was like out of nowhere. That's kind of scary almost.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, just kidding. Okay, so masks. Some people might be able to get them at work. I am able to get some at work, which are the kind that they use like in dentist's office and stuff. So first off,
doctor too? No, okay.
First off, don't do what the governor of Florida did. I don't know if you saw this. He put his mask on the complete wrong way. He's surrounded by people all wearing the same masks. He took the elastic loop and put it over the back of his head.
What?
And then the other loop was dangling under his chin. No, that's not how you do it.
Ain't this how it goes? What?
No. All right. So with the mask, one loop on each side. Those go over your ears. If it's a standard like surgical mask that's been made by companies, not a homemade mask, it's going to have a metal strip on one side of the mask, either the top or the bottom. You want that metal strip to go over your nose. So you put it on over your ears. You take your glasses off first. Put this on over your ears, and then make sure that metal strip is pressing against the bridge of your nose, nice and tight, and across your cheeks. And I'm doing the motion. You can't see it, but I'm doing the motion. Nice and tight across the top of your nose and across your cheeks, and then put your glasses on over that. So you'll notice immediately it's going to be a little claustrophobic. I personally do not like wearing the mask. I do it though. I've done it when I've had to go to the grocery store. I don't do it in my car because I don't care. There's nobody else in the car with me. So, if it starts fogging up your glasses, if it's fitted pretty tight to your nose, it might do it a little bit at first, but then once your glasses warm up, it'll stop. If it's still having a problem with it, here's 2 tips. 1, go to your kitchen sink and get some dishwashing liquid and wash your glasses with that. Rinse them off and then let it dry. If you leave that dishwashing liquid, it's supposed to form, I haven't tried this, but I've heard this works. It forms a little film that's kind of an anti-fog thing. There's also sprays you can buy. It's expensive. Second tip, if it's still fogging up, take a piece of Kleenex and fold it into a little layer. Put it across the top of your nose underneath the mask. That should catch any condensation and stop your glasses from fogging up.
Serious question. I know they make like windshield wiper fluid that kind of can keep like rain from being on your window, your car window. Would that work?
It might work. I wouldn't try it probably because a lot of times your glasses have special coatings from the manufacturer that are meant to like reduce UV emissions and things like that. That's why if you just use like dishwashing liquid, it's real mild. And like I said, they do make specific sprays for glasses, but I don't think I would use an auto product on your glasses. Just in case.
Okay.
Just in case. But
I'm
yeah.
not a car? What?
Yeah. So, you know, if you gotta wear a mask, you gotta wear a mask. Hopefully, if you're lucky, you have an employer that'll provide you a mask. My employer will give us 1 mask per person per day. which kind of sucks if you're like walking around the building and you're getting all sweaty and the mask gets a little sweaty too. And because those papery masks, you know, they do the job. They do what they're supposed to do. But they're meant to be disposable. And unfortunately, with the shortages, you gotta reuse them. But it is what it is. Hopefully hopefully those little tips will help you out if you're having problems with your glasses fogging up. Because I know that's the main complaint I've heard from people about wearing masks. My glasses fog up.
This is our new normal.
Unfortunately, it is. But like I said, you gotta do what you gotta do. And mostly what it is, it's not necessarily... It's a protection thing, but it's also to remind you not to touch your mouth and stuff when you're out in public. That's mostly what it is.
Don't eat finger food.
Yeah, and wash your hands. Use hand sanitizer. And if you're going to use gloves, be conscious of the fact that you still got to remember not to touch your face with the gloves. I mean, it's protecting your hands, but then what you're supposed to do is not touch yourself when you've got the gloves on, and make sure if you're disposing of gloves and masks, do it in a responsible manner. I keep seeing pictures of like gloves discarded in random places and masks discarded in random. Put them in the garbage can. Don't litter. Don't be a litter bug. Anyway. Do you love Smokey And The Bandit? Honestly, I haven't seen it in so long, so I couldn't give you an opinion on if I love it or not.
I love that movie. It's not high art at all. It's
never high art with you.
No. Generally, it's not. I mean, I like Citizen Kane. That's high art. Godfather, classic. That's high art as well.
I don't know if I would call Godfather high art. Citizen Kane, yes.
Yeah. WrestleMania 3, high art.
Dude.
It's not like when Andre beat Hogan.
Oh my God! Do we have to talk about this again?
Fuck Fucking Princess Bride coming to fucking Disney Plus.
Oh, God.
Fuckers.
Stop.
Andre made me cry, god damn it. Anyway.
Get over it, dude.
Anyway. Now, a lot of people have had a lot of time, obviously, the past few weeks to be able to catch up on stuff they haven't seen in a while. And one movie that I've seen, again, recently, that I currently own, is Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah.
The Burt Reynolds classic, and it made me think, this is a perfect film that should have a reboot. Because it's not a story like a Star Wars, for instance, that, or like the original Ghostbusters, that is so treasured among its fans and is so detailed that straying from that could somehow ruin your experience, if at all. But it's just a basic premise that could go in a lot of different ways. I mean, it's a fun idea. It was created by Hal Needham, who wrote and directed the movie. He was a former stuntman, and stuntman for Burt Reynolds, believe it or not.
Huh.
And he was originally going to make Smokey and the Bandit as a low-budget B movie, kind of like a Roger Corman classic that may have in the 70s saw some time in drive-through movie theaters, drive-in movie theaters. Sorry, not drive-through movie theaters. I'm fucking stupid, I would like an order of the Titanic, please. No.
God.
But, once Burt Reynolds read the script, he thought it was a great idea. So, he joined aboard. You got Sally Field joined as Frog. You got the legendary Jackie Gleason as Sheriff Buford T. Justice. And just so many other great things that it made me think that this is the one film that could be rebooted and could have some modern takes added to it that would honor the source material as well as bring something new to modern fans. So what I thought is kind of go through some of the recasting I thought of and also tell you who I would have direct.
Okay, go ahead.
All right, the star of my Smokey and the Bandit reboot, the Bandit would be played by The Rock.
Okay.
As far as charisma, anybody that sees Burt Reynolds in 1977 on Smokey and the Bandit, I challenge you to look at The Rock and not see that they have the same level of charisma.
I can see the charisma. I can't see The Rock in a mustache.
It doesn't have to be a mustache. I think of most of all where I see The Rock most. There's that scene near the beginning of the movie after Bandit and what's his name? Cletus Snow, the truck driver, first get the beer and they're heading back to Georgia. It's night. They're traveling through town. The Bandit is kind of the distractor for Smokey. He distracts Smokey so the Snowman can take the beer to Georgia without being arrested or anything like that. But he's traveling through town at night, chases has the cops chase him, but then loses them. And then there's this little quick scene that I really loved, where the Bandit's like driving slowly near the camera. He's looking to his left, looks down, looks up, smiles, and then drives off. And I thought that is badass, and The Rock could easily pull that off because, again, Smokey and the Bandit does not require much from an actor.
No,
nothing.
Just some swagger, basically.
Swagger, and come on, it's the fucking Rock. The Rock could easily pull it off.
Yeah, he's got swagger. That's true.
Yeah.
You're not thinking more of a country boy, kind of like a Johnny Knoxville or someone like that.
No, because the Bandit has presence. Burt Reynolds has that leading man presence.
Yeah. The
Rock has that leading man presence. Johnny Knoxville is a good actor, but he's not a leading actor.
Yeah, I'm just
he's the wacky sidekick.
Okay. I could see that, a wacky sidekick.
Yep. All right, now, the Bandit, in the course of the film, driving along and sees a young lady hitchhiking. She's in a wedding dress. That's Carrie, who he nicknames Frog in the original movie. That was played by the legendary Sally Field. Who in that movie just kicked all levels of ass. Mm-hmm. Sally Field, and I remember watching reruns of both Gidget and The Flying Nun as a kid, and Sally Field kicked ass in both of those. Even the goofy 60s TV, Sally Field has a presence about her.
Do you know what she was really good into? Lincoln.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, she was. I remember an interview with her where she talked about being really nervous, kind of because I guess she had to audition for that role. It's common, but she auditioned with Daniel Day-Lewis, and then at the end he goes, "I'm glad we can have you aboard, Mother," because I guess that's what Lincoln called Mary Todd Lincoln.
Because of course he would.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel Day-Lewis is probably the most method of method actors.
Yeah.
Between him and maybe.
Who's that douchebag? Jared Leto.
He
tried to be. I mean, he's doing method, but he's doing it bad, kind of like Jim Carrey did with the Man on the Moon movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Christian Bale too, when he did The Machinist. Yeah. That was pretty method.
That was definitely method, but that wasn't annoying method. If that makes sense. I mean, Robert De Niro's method, and look at the work he's done over the years.
Yeah, that's true.
But
anyway, Sally Field.
The character, Frog. What actress today kind of speaks to that power, that independence, that free woman that Sally Field is? To me, I would cast Cate Blanchett.
Okay, this is going to sound terrible, but isn't she a little old for that role?
I don't care. I mean, it's...
Because I'm just picturing, like...
I mean, The Rock
Sally
is almost
Field.
50.
Oh, that's true.
So... And she's younger than The Rock, currently. So, and look at her. She's, she's
yeah,
not...
I mean, I love Cate Blanchett. It's just the whole 70s vibe, freewheeling... yeah, she could probably... Yeah, she could do it.
She could definitely...
See, I was thinking... Just the first person that popped into my head was Chrissy Teigen, of all people.
Isn't she like the co-host of the Great Lip Sync Battle?
Yeah, she's married to John Legend, and she's very.
I got nothing against her, but she for the frog character,
she's very outspoken, and
But still, for the frog character, you got to get someone at Sally Field's level that's willing to have some fun with material like
Well,
this.
That's true, and Cate Blanchett has shown that she's willing to do that sort of thing. I mean, she did that Ocean's, the new Ocean movie that was all women cast.
Yeah, and I think she could definitely have some fun with it. So
yeah.
That's who I would pick as the love interest. Sheriff Buford T. Justice was played by the great Jackie Gleason in the original movie. Mm-hmm. Initially, I was thinking Dan Aykroyd as Buford T. Justice.
That would be cool.
It would be, but I gotta think. If I was casting that movie now, he's at an age to where he may do it, but with his age, he may not want to take on the rigors of a movie where he's doing like stunt driving,
yeah,
that type of deal. So I thought of somebody else, Billy Bob Thornton.
I could see that. That'll work.
Yeah, because I think he would kind of relish having some fun with the two-dimensional Southern hick sheriff type character. Mm-hmm. But because I know I read an article where he talked about meeting with Burt Reynolds about this movie, and he said in the South we viewed Smokey and the Bandit like a documentary, and if there's anybody that I think would be able to kind of get that character and have some fun with the silliness of that character, it'd be Billy Bob Thornton.
Or maybe if they wanted to do something just kind of stir it up a little bit, what if it was like Billy Bob Thornton as the sheriff, but then he's about to retire, so he's trying to pass things on to his son.
Well, the son character was in the original, yeah.
Then the son could be Johnny Knoxville.
That's an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, the son character in the original movie was kind of like the doofus, give me a cigarette, boy, and then the son gives him a cigarette and it's broken, and then Jackie Gleason hits him over the head or something like that. That would be perfect for a Johnny Knoxville type of role.
I don't know why I'm obsessed with Johnny Knoxville. It's just I think like Southern movies, and he pops into my head. I guess I don't know.
He's so dreamy, right?
He's not my type at all, but I think he's funny.
Yeah.
But it's just I think Southern movie, and he just pops into my head, probably because his last name is Knoxville.
All right. The next character, Cletus Snow in the original movie was played by country music legend Jerry Reed. Jerry Reed did the soundtrack to Smokey and the Bandit, including Eastbound and Down, the legendary song. So I thought if we're going to recast it, we gotta have a country legend take that role as well, because Cletus Snow in the movie didn't have really much to do, so you're not gonna need an actor who can perform Macbeth playing Cletus Snow. So I thought Garth Brooks.
Okay, that'd work.
Garth Brooks would be able to not only play that role, he'd have some fun with it. He'd also be able to do the soundtrack. I mean, Garth Brooks singing Eastbound and Down would be fun.
Yeah, I'm not a Garth Brooks fan, but I could see that working.
Yeah.
Here's another idea. Brad Paisley.
He's a little too young looking. I mean, just with the smaller face, Garth Brooks has the bigger head. And I think he could be more accepted as a truck driver in terms of his general appearance, than Brad Paisley. Brad Paisley isn't dressing like a cast member of Hee Haw by any means.
No.
But what he wears, I feel it's more traditional type of country type of deal. And Garth Brooks, is nowadays at least more just traditional, just stuff off the rack of JCPenney or something like that.
If you can find a JCPenney.
Well, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, but I think he'd be great in the role. Now, last but not least, in terms of cast for the movie, we got the characters that kind of get things going. We got Big Enos Burdett and Little Enos Burdett. Little Enos in the movie was played by the great Paul Williams, who wrote the song Rainbow Connection, and also wrote a lot of songs for the Carpenters. I forgot the actor who played Big Enos, but I don't necessarily need to know the guy's name, because all that character does is, give the bandit his quest for the movie.
Okay.
So what I thought,
he's a quest giver.
Yeah. Big Enos Burdett would be played by Terry Crews. And Little Enos would be played by Kevin Hart.
I was gonna say, if it's little, it's gotta be Kevin Hart.
It's gotta be Kevin Hart, And
I'm sorry, Kevin Hart.
but you gotta think. I mean, him and The Rock already have a couple of movies together, and they have a great rapport.
The one where he's like an accountant, and then his buddy shows up from high school. I can't remember the name of the movie.
Yeah.
I saw it though, but it was really friggin' funny.
Yeah, so I think, you would definitely, if you get a Kevin Hart as Little Enos, you'd have to give him a lot more lines than what the character had in the original. But, just imagine Kevin Enos and The Rock having an argument over CB radio, just back and forth,
That'd be pretty funny.
With this core cast right here, you got a hit movie. Now, the director is going to be the most important. And for me, I thought the perfect director, in my opinion...
Steven Spielberg.
No. No. The director that I feel could most pull off comedy and action as one movie, Tim Miller. He directed Deadpool.
Oh.
He would be absolutely perfect for this.
Yeah.
Because,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because...
he did a lot... There was a lot of car scenes and action stuff in Deadpool, and it was funny. It was funny,
and they melded together, unlike the sequel. The sequel was directed by one of the directors of the John Wick movies. And, I love Deadpool 2. It does not measure up to Deadpool 1 in terms of overall enjoyment, though, just because there was not an equal balance of humor and action. And I think Tim Miller would be perfect for directing this.
Right on.
All right, so that may be a fun segment to kind of try again at some point.
Okay.
Whether
maybe next time I'll do it.
There you go. I mean, because more than anything, the thing about this podcast that I've discovered is that, like a talk show, sometimes you need to have a particular segment. A recurring segment, just so if you don't have ideas for original stuff, you have something you can fall back on.
Yep. That's a good point.
So, yeah, that's... we will definitely do that again. Maybe as early as next week. We will see.
Sure. We'll see.
Yeah, but for now, what we are going to do, we're going to transfer into a recurring segment that we've been doing for the past few weeks. But instead of movies, it's TV.
TV.
So what we are doing here is we both picked our top 5 favorite TV shows from the year we were born. The only ground rules I gave were that they had to have been first run when in that particular year in question, whether it be network, cable, or first run syndication. The reason I mentioned first run syndication for any younger people that may be listening, shows like Star Trek: The Next Generation was a first run syndication show. It was not shown on CBS or one of the big networks or anything like that, but it was a totally original show. The only other ground rule beyond that was that we could only pick a show once. So something like The Simpsons, we couldn't use that as a cop-out, for like 4 or 5, picks in a row. So we had to do what we can to deep dive. But, like we did, like we've done the past couple weeks, we're going to bounce back and forth. You're going to start, and then I'm going to go back and forth with our top 5. So, what's your first choice?
Match Game.
All right.
I like game shows, and Match Game is one of my favorites of all time because it has goofy celebrities, 70s innuendo, which is funny, and the host, oh gosh, what's his name? I can see him in my head. Gene Rayburn.
Gene Rayburn, yeah.
Gene Rayburn is he's great. He has good rapport with the contestants. He has good rapport with the panel of celebrities. And
here's Jamie Farr. He was snorting cocaine in the back before we started.
Yeah, you can tell some of these celebrities were definitely snorting cocaine in the back before they started. But yeah, I love Match Game. Anytime I can catch Match Game in reruns, I will watch it.
Pluto TV, the Buzzer channel.
Yeah.
Match Game is one of the shows that they routinely have in there. And again, Pluto TV, I can't recommend that service enough.
Yeah, and then I know they do them on Amazon Prime as well. I think I've watched a bunch of them on Amazon Prime.
I believe it's the same provider.
Yeah, I think it's that Buzzer.
The Buzzer channel, yeah. All right, my first choice, 1976. It was the year it debuted. The Muppet Show.
Oh, The Muppet Show. I love The Muppet Show.
An absolute classic. Jason Segel, who did the 2011 Muppets movie, kind of had the right idea when it came to the Muppets. I mean, for kids, it was your introduction to comedy.
It was, definitely.
It really planted the seed. And the brilliant thing about Jim Henson is that his work was always for kids, but it just had enough of a bent that, the older you get, the more you can appreciate it. Like the Muppets movie, when he would constantly joke about Hare Krishna. Just a kid's not going to give a fuck about that. But
yeah.
Now I look back on it, it's just like, you got me. But, just the characters. Oh my God, Kermit,
Miss Piggy,
Fozzie Bear, and the characters I'm relating to more and more the older I get, and the more gray hairs I get. Statler and Waldorf.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times that's what the show ends up when we're talking music. But just so many good memories with that show, and of course the movies they did afterwards. You can't go wrong with the Muppet Show.
Yeah, you really can't.
What's your next one?
The $10,000 Pyramid.
With Dick Clark?
Yes.
Okay.
I love game shows. I really do. And if I can find of my picks, 2 of them are game shows.
Nothing wrong with it.
And I really like the $10,000 Pyramid because it was really easy for you to sit there and just sort of shout at the dumbness of the person of the people, either the clue giver or the clue taker. You'd be like,
yeah,
come on, don't you get it, dude? Really? Oh my gosh, yeah.
Yeah, I
think it's in reruns on Buzzer as well.
Yeah, and I know growing up, that plus the $100,000 Pyramid was routinely rerun on the USA Network.
Yep, I remember watching that on USA a lot.
In afternoons, yeah. So I saw that, and Hollywood Squares with John Davidson.
Yeah, yeah. All those game shows. I love Price is Right. I love The Price is Right. I really like I like the new Wheel of Fortune, but I really like the old Wheel of Fortunes where they didn't just get cash; they had to shop a room. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was when it was on NBC.
NBC or CBS?
I believe it was NBC, if I'm not mistaken. I remember it being on an NBC station. But yeah, it's just like they would win $5,000, but then they would, pick their prizes in the room, and then there's like a spinning room that goes around, and people be like, okay, I want the TV, I want the trip to Bermuda, and I want the slacks.
Yeah, or then like they'd end up with like, I think like $100 or something, and then half the time they'd have to get like a ceramic dog.
Yeah.
There's like a ceramic Dalmatian, and then anything else got to go on a gift certificate for, it was those catalog stores.
The green stamp store?
Not a green stamp store. We used to have one in the Portland area called Jasco. And then there was, I forget, it was just a general catalog store, which meant everything, they would send you a catalog, and then you go to the store and you could see examples from it. But a lot of times everything was in the back. I just remember going to Jasco and getting a Cabbage Patch Kid when I was a kid. So I have fond memories of Jasco, and it no longer exists.
Oh.
So,
well, my next choice, I actually had an action figure based on the show when I was a kid. MASH.
Oh,
I had a Klinger action figure.
That's funny.
He was in the full army outfit. It wasn't like him in the Gone with the Wind outfit or anything.
I was gonna
like that.
say, did he come with like a dress you could change him into?
No, that would have been awesome. But just MASH, if you think about it, it's a shock that show came on in the 70s. I mean, just for the amount of serious topics that show was able to accomplish on top of being a sitcom as well.
Well, I mean, when it came out, it was just after the Vietnam War. So there were a lot of vets at home who could identify with that, even though it was set in the Korean War. Because both of those wars were kind of a fuck-up.
Well, a lot of our wars have been a lot of fuck-ups
if you
realize American history. But
the Korean War and the Vietnam War in particular were both pretty vague. I mean, with World War I and World War II, it was pretty clear there was a bad guy and a good guy. With the Korean War and the Vietnam War, it was basically Western civilization butting in on something going on in Asia that they probably could have sorted out on their own.
Yeah, I mean, MASH, the intent of the producers was to make a show that, showed the futility of war.
Exactly, and a lot of those folks who were tuning in had just come home from Vietnam, plus they had spouses and such that had been trying to support them through that. And the Vietnam War was one of the first times that we were really acknowledging that there was an aftermath to war.
Yeah.
In terms of like PTSD and just veterans coming home missing limbs and having weird illnesses as a result of Agent Orange and things of that nature.
Yeah, and I guess overall for me is that, if you think about it, this show would have a hard time getting on cable today just because of the seriousness of the content. I mean, I've actually read the original books that the movie and the show were based on. I've seen the Robert Altman movie, and I've seen every episode of MASH.
I probably have too, just because my dad always watched it.
Yeah,
I know I've seen the original movie.
Yeah, and just this MASH right here, to me, if you have a Mount Rushmore of the greatest things television has ever produced, MASH has to be one of them.
Yeah, I would agree with you on that. MASH is definitely one of them.
Yeah, I mean, just because it's so many different things all at once, and those characters. I mean, like think back to when Alan Alda did a guest spot on ER. I mean, he ended up, his character wasn't Hawkeye, but his character ended up reflecting on his time in the Korean War. Mm-hmm. I wonder why. That show has had a huge impact on both comedy and drama throughout the years.
And the thing about MASH is that it's what they call a dramedy, I think.
Yeah.
Because there's all the serious drama.
And you don't even have dramedies today.
Yeah, that's true. And then, because, you'll be going on, the show started out like with a couple of jokes, then all of a sudden the work kicks in because a bunch of patients will come flying in and they'll all go to work and get serious, and then the comedy comes back. And the thing is what that reflects is that's the way things are in a hospital. That's the way things are in war. There's a lot of gallows humor in both cases.
And that too does show the human spirit. The human spirit at the end of the day will find a way to persevere, even if it's by having a little laugh at dark humor of your current circumstances. It's all that show is all about not only the futility of war, but the importance of just pushing on.
Yeah, and it really shows the teamwork that goes into those things too. And that, when things are rough, we do come together and we get things done, and that then there's a break too.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's really hard, coming back to what we're going through now with the coronavirus pandemic, one of the things that's really hard for the folks who are working on the front lines is we don't see that break coming. So all those people who are working in hospitals right now, on the front lines with patients just keep coming in, you don't know if there's an end in sight. We don't, because there's no, because with war, there's like a battle and then they stop, they pull back, they move on. There's like a sort of a pause where people are repositioning. It's not happening with the coronavirus pandemic. So,
but still, even with war, there's give and take on both sides. Yeah. But just like MASH showed, MASH was on for longer than what the Korean War actually happened. But I got no problem with that because it kind of delves into some of the insanity, some of the escapes that people have to have in order to be able to survive.
Exactly.
But it's an absolute classic, and the last episode, I can see that last scene in, anytime I see that last scene, I'm just bawling, just when BJ and Hawkeye are at the
It's okay.
At the top, next to the helicopter, and BJ's like, I'm going to see you again, I swear, but if not, I left you a message. Helicopter goes up, and says goodbye. Good.
Yeah.
All right, what's your next one?
I remember that. My next one is one that you like too, Super Friends.
Classic.
Animation, you can't go wrong with Super Friends. It came out in 1973, so I didn't see it when it originally came out, but they reran it periodically throughout the 80s.
And to be clear, the shows I watched, I was not watching right out at birth, okay?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
We're just picking our favorite ones that stuck with us.
But Super Friends, you can't freaking go wrong with Super Friends.
With Ted Knight as the narrator.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah. Superman, Batman, meanwhile at the Legion of Doom.
Yes, exactly. That 70s classic animation, just the way it looked and everything, it just speaks to me.
Yeah, the Hanna-Barbera, it looks like crap now, so
I don't think it looks like crap. It's a product of its time.
It is a product of its time. Compared to shows that are put out today, it does look like crap. For what it was at that time, it was the best that financially they could do.
I like it.
But come on, I got a Super Friend shirt. I got a Superman tattoo. That show means something to me, so I get it. It's. The later seasons, it went off the air about 85, 86, or a little bit later than that.
I don't even know.
It did. It was on the air for about 9 years. Near the end, they were able to introduce a lot of characters. Because, for a while, I wasn't into the kind of the minor DC characters, but seeing them show up in a lot of the Arrowverse shows, going back on Super Friends, it's just like, I saw them there first. What was the name? Firestorm, the guy who had the professor and the college student merged into one body. I forgot about that character until I saw them in the Arrowverse show, and it's just like, wait a minute, which is why when Crisis on Infinite Earths hit, and then at the end scene where they had Gleek, the space monkey, escape and laugh, oh man, and then the building they were all in looked like the Hall of Justice. It was great.
Geek.
All right. My next show, it actually went off the air for 3 years, starting in 1976, but it did come back, and I think this is the appropriate time to mention this show, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Oh, yeah, I grew up watching Mr. Rogers. I think a lot of us about our age did.
Yeah, and I know the Won't You Be My Neighbor documentary did kind of show that there are some conservatives who don't like Mr. Rogers, who think that him trying to teach people that it's okay to to channel their emotions, and that to tell them that they are indeed special is somehow wrong, and just fuck that. But just that show,
Yeah.
I mean, I can watch it today, and and he was directing it towards kids, but it was never dumbed it down. Adults can easily sit there and watch it. He was very genuine and
It's soothing.
Yeah,
just watching it is soothing.
Very much so. What's your next choice?
This kind of isn't a show, but Schoolhouse Rock.
It was a TV show on TV, just because it didn't necessarily have a consistent season.
It wasn't really a show though, because it was basically Schoolhouse Rock was just these like 3 to 4 minute clips they just throw in with the commercials, and it was it's like little things to teach you about different stuff, like whether it's words, whether it's government. No, there was no actual show. It was those little clips. It was maybe later. It was merged into a show. I mean, you can get like all those clips on like DVD and stuff, but no, Schoolhouse Rock was never an actual show. It was a name for all of those little clips they would throw in. And the thing is it started in 1973, but they were playing them well into the 90s on broadcast television when they had Saturday morning cartoons and stuff.
I gotta tell you, I don't remember Schoolhouse Rock when it was originally out, and it was on a lot of time when I was a kid, so I should have run across it, but apparently I was watching either too much Super Friends or too much Looney Tunes.
Yeah, but
or the Smurfs.
But the thing is it, like I'm saying, it wasn't an actual show. It was a series of 3-minute blurbs that they would throw in here and there as basically PSAs, educational content, so that they could make right with the FCC.
Okay.
So, but it's a founding thing. It's like how most of us learned about how government works and stuff like that.
All right. My next choice, starring James Garner, The Rockford Files.
Oh, The Rockford Files, yeah.
Always opened up with that newfangled technology called the answering machine at that particular time, which usually had a message from somebody that James Rockford owed money to.
I was gonna say, didn't he usually just owe money to somebody?
Yeah, that they had an amazing theme song from Mike Post. One of the writers on the show ended up creating a little show you may have heard of called The Sopranos. The guy who created it was also the guy who created a television show called Maverick, which also starred James Garner. The Rockford Files was essentially a modern take on Maverick, but just it's of its time, but it has a lot of replayability. You can definitely kick back and watch it today and enjoy it for what it is. And that's another show that, I mean, they've already come back with like the Rockford Files and Hawaii Five-0. No, they've already come back with Magnum P.I. in Hawaii Five-0. Sorry, but the Rockford Files seems perfect. I mean, why not bring something like that back?
Why not?
Yeah. All right. What's your last one?
Star Trek: The Animated Series.
All right.
See, I never really watched Star Trek: The Animated Series much, but just the fact that it exists and it came out when I was in the year I was born it just cracks me up. And yeah, I mean, I like Star Trek and I like the original. And honestly, 1973 wasn't a great year for television. There was a lot of shit that came out that year that I didn't want to even mention. So. And
Gene Roddenberry, he essentially turned that show into just the continuing adventures of the Enterprise.
Yeah.
He brought on a lot of the same writers from the original Star Trek show. And one thing to take note of, I think it was actors Walter Koenig, Chekhov, and Scotty and Sulu were not originally written into the show, but Leonard Nimoy said he would not do the animated show unless they were brought on board. Oh. So there's that. It was actually able, being animated, to have a lot more fantastical type of stuff, like alien crew members that were on board. So it kind of was a way to have a little bit more fun than what they could with the original show, just due to budget and technology being what it was at that time. But even though it's not technically a part of the official Star Trek timeline, because technically there is one, it was still very important in terms of keeping interest for the show abroad.
Definitely. Yeah. And I mean, if you like Star Trek, it's more Star Trek.
Yeah, it very much is. It's not somebody's idea of Star Trek or something like that. But anyway, my last one, Charlie's Angels.
Nice.
Yeah. Always loved that show. It's just the premise. The show itself, I can't necessarily watch right now. It's not one that stands the test of time, but I do love the premise of a guy who hires, 3 women to fight crime. I mean, that's, it should, more competent actresses other than Drew Barrymore should have been playing the Charlie's Angels roles in the movies. It's an idea that should still work today, but for whatever reason, it's whether it's executing wrong, or maybe just because I think it's a good idea doesn't not necessarily mean the rest of the American culture thinks it's a good idea or something like that. But
okay, so I liked the first 2 Charlie's Angels reboot movies with Drew Barrymore. I thought they were fine. I liked them well enough. I haven't seen the most recent one. I don't know if it's any good, but I don't think it did very well at the box office.
And lately, that's not any sort of a sign as to whether, and that's never been a sign as to whether a movie.
No, it never really has. But
and Elizabeth Banks, who wrote and directed it, I mean, her pedigree speaks for itself. I mean,
yeah, I like Elizabeth Banks, and I mean, she did the Pitch Perfect movies as well. So,
yeah.
And I know you probably haven't seen those, but those 3 movies I really enjoyed.
She was Betty Brant in the original 3 Spider-Man movies.
Oh, that's right. She wasn't she?
Yep. But anyway, that is our top 5 favorite shows from the year we are born. The next time you hear us, we will be talking about our top 5 favorite shows from the year we were 10.
1983.
Yeah. Now, we got an album of the week.
We do.
No singing?
Album of the week.
All right. It's this week is going to be Kim's choice.
Yep.
What's the album for the folks?
The name of the band is BabyMetal. The name of the album is BabyMetal.
All right.
It's a self-titled album. Their debut album came out in 2014.
Yeah. So, what made you choose that album?
Well, I first heard about it by I saw their first. This is their first album. The first single was "Gimme Chocolate," and the video kind of went viral. And I saw the video, and it starts out with this metal, and then there's these 3 young ladies from Japan, dressed like little gothic girls, dancing and singing, but there's this metal music going on, and it's a very. Basically, I was like, what the heck am I seeing? What the heck am I hearing? And I just really liked it. It's this combination of like J-pop music with metal. And not just metal, speed thrash metal. And these girls are just dancing and singing and having a great time. And the backing band they have is really friggin' good, in my opinion. They have some very talented musicians backing them. And I was like, I don't know what the heck I'm seeing, but I like it. And I bought the album, and actually, this album kind of saved me in a way in 2016. 2016 was a bad year. It was a really rough year for me. It was just a really bad year. And anytime I was feeling just crappy, I'd put this album on, and it would just bring me right out of it. I was listening to it all the time, like, I was listening to it in the car, I was listening to it at work on earbuds, and just anywhere I could listen to it, I was listening to it because it kept my mind off all the crap I was dealing with that year. Mm-hmm. So.
For me, I gotta say, overall, the band, I really This goes to show what thinking outside of the box can actually do. I mean,
Yeah.
because in America, you would never have a mixture of pop music and metal together.
Yeah, and it's kind of one of the things a lot of they do it in America too, but they do it particularly in Asian culture, in Japan and Korea in particular. Is there's a lot of producers that kind of manufacture bands, and they audition people based on their cuteness or what have you. And I think this was one of those bands that they tried to kind of manufacture, but then it turned out to be really friggin' good. And a lot of people that they wouldn't expect got into it.
The Japanese version of the Monkees.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so what we will do is talk about each track here and what you felt was important about it. Now, track 1, BabyMetal Death.
Well, this is just kind of like, it's the first track on the album, and you're just like, I'm not sure what I'm about to hear. Because if you've just listened to, like, Gimme Chocolate or one of the other singles they had, you're just like, okay. And then, because it starts out with this kind of choral thing, like all these voices, like, ah. It sounds much better than that, of course. But then it goes into that intro, and then all of a sudden you got this little girl voices, and then the metal starts, and you're like, what? What am I hearing? And just as an aside, if you are into metal and you want to get someone into metal, this is probably a good album to give them.
Yeah, I mean they've had legendary metal artists like Rob Zombie, give his support for that band. They've actually performed a couple shows. Apparently, I think it was just like a guest spot, but Rob Halford from Judas Priest joined them, and sang a couple of songs. So
yeah, they've been on tour pretty continuously since they came out, and they've been part of a lot of metal festivals and stuff. So they've got a lot of unlikely fans.
Yeah.
I mean, that random guy that who works in your IT department and wears like Iron Maiden shirts probably likes BabyMetal.
All right, the next track, Megitsune?
I think that's right, yeah. The thing is a lot of these songs, because I've listened to them so much without having a track listing in front of me, is they all kind of run together. So I try to make some notes to keep things separate, but I think what I like about this the best is it starts out with these kind of sort of very Asian Japanese sounding notes, and then there's the guitar. Because a lot of these songs, they kind of start out a little bit like la 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 la, and then all of a sudden and it's unexpected. And the thing is I've tried to look up the lyrics and figure, because you can find translations of the lyrics, and then I look at the lyrics and I'm like, these don't make any sense, but I don't care. I don't even need to know what these words mean. I just like to listen to them singing.
Yeah, and that's kind of the dilemma I found myself in listening to this album, because as far as the overall just the music goes, love it. I got nothing but respect for what they do, and especially because I'm sure their individual tastes are probably more along the pop side of things.
It depends. I mean, because I've seen interviews with them, and I think these girls genuinely enjoy metal music.
But that's the thing. I mean, the fact that they are able to meld two styles that you off the top of your head, you would not think work. The fact that they're able to, make it work says a lot, for their passion, for what they're able to do. And, this is also, especially because you don't necessarily understand the lyrics here, why not use this as an intro for kids for metal? I mean, metal is great music. There's a lot of, because to your point, a lot of times I find myself, if I am in kind of like a down mood, I will listen to something that's really up tempo and fast, like a Pantera or Metallica or something like that, just to get the body moving, and that's what the brilliance of what this music is able to do.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's kind of silly, but at the same time, it's amazing how these work. And if you listen to other metal artists too, I mean, there's a lot going on there. And if you have any kind of background in like classical music, or if you've like listened to if you've been in a band at any time in your life, if you know how to read music at all, you can definitely hear there's a lot of melodies going on. Like, even if we're not talking about BabyMetal, if we're talking about, say, a band like Metallica or something, there's a reason why they can take Metallica's music and then translate it into strings. I don't know if you've ever heard those like classical renditions of Metallica songs.
No, one of my favorite live albums is S&M from Metallica, where Michael Kamen in the San Francisco Symphony Orchestra plays along with Metallica at a live concert.
But you can hear that in BabyMetal too. You can, if you're really listening to the guitars, you can hear them doing scales, a lot of technical work. It's pretty amazing stuff.
All right, the next track, probably most people's favorite from the album, "Gimme Chocolate."
It's definitely one of my favorites because it's freaking catchy. It's catchy as heck.
To me, yeah, I mean, it's like the music is like like that, and then and I don't know Japanese, so I'm mimicking it. Oh god, I feel stupid.
I don't know Japanese either, but I kind of can sing along with it. I don't know what they're saying, but I can mimic the sounds, and I just enjoy it.
Yeah, definitely a good fast-paced song. Definitely enjoyed the next one. Line.
I think it's pronounced Line.
Line.
Yeah, but yeah, this one's great too. The start, because I love how it starts with the keyboard sounds, and I would actually call this song in particular metal techno, because it's like that sort of kind of
a more up-tempo version of what Trent Reznor does.
It kind of is. Cause it's like they're like la 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 line all through it. So yeah.
All right, the next track, Akatsuki.
And this is another one of those. They just love to do this. Like, let's start it as this and change it. Because at first you start thinking maybe this is a metal ballad. Nope. It starts with this nice piano, and then all of a sudden, rah 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 rah. Again.
Nothing wrong with that. All right, the next one, Doki Doki Morning.
I love this song. I've used it as an alarm on my phone.
Yeah,
many times, just because it starts out da 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 Doki Doki Morning. Yeah, it's a good thing to kind of wake you up.
I could see this in probably like some video game or something like that.
Oh yeah, definitely a video game moment for sure. Oh, also, if you like BabyMetal, Agretsuko is good. It's a anime series. It's on Netflix with it's a red panda, and she's like an office worker, but then she blows off steam at night doing metal and karaoke bars. It's super cute. I love Agretsuko.
Okay. All right, the next track we got on the album, Wandare Daisakusen.
Onodare Daisakusen.
Okay, well, to be clear, if there's anybody listening from Japan or knows Japanese right now, I am trying my absolute best. I'm not trying to, make a joke here or anything like that.
Yeah, the thing is with Japanese, it's about syllables. And so if you look at the word and you just like break it to its like as if you were in like basic phonics class when we were kids, it's like o, ne, da, ri, just like teriyaki, sushi, that sort of thing. Just break it down. But yeah, I didn't really make any notes about this song, so I think it's one of those that just kind of, I'm just kind of like, it just flows. This whole album flows really well together. It just goes from one to the next. You're just like, yes, more. Oh yeah, I like this one too. So at least that's how I listen to it.
All right, the next track, the totally original track name of Song 4.
This one is one of the best songs on the album, in my opinion.
Why is that?
It's just super speedy, super speed metal, just all the way through, and you're just like, yes. This is one of those where I actually was listening to it, going, "Oh, which song is this? Song 4. Okay, I like Song 4, but it's at track 8. I don't understand, but I don't care."
It's the Japanese fucking with you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what that means. Anyway, the next track, Uki Midnight.
Didn't make any notes on this one.
It must be a companion track somehow to Doki Doki Morning.
That's what I figured. I probably should look up the lyrics to these. They're probably related.
Yeah.
I don't know, though.
For all we know, it's probably a concept album or something. It's like the Japanese version of Tommy.
Maybe. So track 10 is Catch Me If You Can. And I like this one because of the way they count at the beginning. It's really cute. They're like, 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. And then it starts. It's just... Oh, I just like it. It's so cute.
And that's another thing I do like about it too, is the fact that the singers in question, they do dress goth on stage, but they are still very much
the kwai.
Whatever that is, but
kwai is a term that means like super cute.
Okay, I mean they're still vamping it up like Britney Spears would have done.
Yeah, they're doing these little coordinated dance moves and stuff, and singing.
They look beautiful, they dance beautiful, they sing beautiful. They're beautiful people. It's just not something you would typically associate with metal music,
which is why it's so weird and cool.
And that's the thing too. It's like it's very much metal, but it's adding a little feminine spin to it.
It is, and that's one of the reasons why I like it so much. It's just. It's metal, but it's not a boys club metal. You feel, it's happy metal, if there's such a thing.
It's not like, I mean, there's one band that I like, a death metal band called Venom Prison. Female lead singer, great band, great albums, but, she's still singing in a traditional, type of death metal voice. And, I'm not saying she has to, cute it up or anything like that. I'm not trying to imply that, but it's not putting a spin on it that I get, like the spin that Eminem did with hip hop in the late 90s. He very much had hardcore type of lyrics, but he wasn't mimicking Dr. Dre. He made it his own thing, and for Venom Prison, that's in my opinion what they're lacking, but that's what BabyMetal is flourishing on. They've made it their own.
They did.
All right, the next one, Rondo of Nightmare.
It's just it's another one of those. I like the song, but it just kind of goes. Oh, I didn't make any notes on it just because it's. I like the name of it because it's like Rondo. It's a musical term. I can't remember exactly what it means. I believe. Oh, gosh, it's gonna bug me if I don't look it up. But yeah, it's a musical term I remember from my time in band class when I was a kid.
Oh man, I took choir in junior high, but that was the extent of my musical. That was the last time I was officially anything sort of musical. I remember my sister. We were all in choir and singing, and then we were backstage, and then she got out of it by quote unquote fainting. She faked it, just like she's adopted.
Oh, jeez.
She's adopted.
So there's a lot of really technical stuff on here. Okay, so perhaps the best known example of rondo form in classical music is Beethoven's Furiosa, which is ba na 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 na. Anyway,
all right.
It's a form of music
from the Ninth Symphony.
Yeah. I don't know. I can't think. Anyway, it's a good song.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning here.
I know.
All right, the next track, Headbanger.
Headbanger. Yep, that's how it's pronounced. I like how it starts out with the kind of music boxy sounds, because like a lot of the songs in this album, it starts out with something la 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 la, and then you're like, but this one starts out with music box sounds, which I thought was cool.
All right. The next track, Ijime Dame Zetai.
I like this one too because it was the...
And I hope I pronounced it correctly.
Yeah, I think it's... Yeah, Ijime Dame Zetai is probably right. It starts out with piano and then heavy guitar. And then we end up with the final track. Well, there's a live track on the album, but...
Last official
track is Road of Resistance. And... this one's really heavy, and I like it for that. This album is just, it's a lot of the same, but it's different at the same time, if that makes any sense. It's like each track is definitely, they're similar, but they're different. And it's really hard to describe, but it just really goes all together well. It tickles the right notes in my head that make it a good experience to listen to.
I agree. Now, one thing people may have noticed during our review is that I did not contribute much. The reason for that is because of the language difference.
Yeah.
I felt that most of my opinions on these songs were, they're great, or I don't care for it.
Yeah, and it's similar for me. It's because of the language barrier, and the sounds are all very similar. It
makes critique very difficult.
It makes critique difficult, definitely.
But to be clear, you know, I'm gonna give full support, even if I didn't like their music whatsoever. I'm gonna give full support to somebody that tried something so out of left field like this and was able to merge it successfully.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those albums you just didn't expect. And like I said, when I saw that video, it was just like, okay, all right, I like this. And I watched it a couple more times, then I found other videos, and I was like, I like this, I'll go ahead and purchase this album and listen to it all the way through, and went, damn, that's good stuff.
And in a lot of ways, I've thought about it too. I mean, you know, pop music and metal music do have a lot more differences than people would you know, care to admit, because with pop music, similar to metal, it is kind of in attitude. You're putting on a persona. You know, like Madonna as a pop musician, you know, since the 80s till today. I mean, she's had multiple personas throughout the years.
Yeah.
You know, similar to Rob Halford, you know, in metal. I mean, he's had the leather persona, you know, the metal persona. He tried to, and when he broke off from Judas Priest in the 90s, you know, he had a band that was trying to, you know, he was trying to do the Trent Reznor type of persona. So it's there's a lot of similarities, and also too, they're both genres that don't get the respect they deserve.
True.
You know, because there are some forms of music like soul, like R&B, like rock, popular music that get a lot more attention and a lot more respect than what pop music and what metal music do. But at the end of the day, a lot of times the pop music and the metal music is what is going to stick out a lot longer and have a lot more emotional impact, because I compare pop and metal music to, you know, your today's comic book movies. You know, in a lot of ways they're similar. I mean, like the Marvel movies, they're not high art whatsoever. I'm the first to admit this, but they are absolutely brilliant by making you care for those characters.
Yeah.
And similar with pop and with metal music, you're caring for those characters. If you're a Judas Priest fan, you're gonna be excited to see Rob Halford come up on stage on a fucking Harley. You know, if you're a pop fan and, you know, see NSYNC on a reunion concert or something like that, you're gonna be excited when those guys hit the stage and start dancing. You know, there's a lot of similarities, and it's great to see artists, you know, take a chance.
Yeah, and it's obvious when you listen to this that
there's love.
There's a lot of love there. There's talent, and whoever produced this album really took the time to find musicians that worked well together, because, like I said, the leading ladies are great, and there's three of them, and they dance together, and they look wonderful, and I like the way they sing, and the backing band, they all kind of, when you see them on a stage together, the backing band is all kind of in shadows, and they wear kind of these ghostly costumes, so you can't really see them. But whoever they are, they're extremely talented, and they probably have jobs in other, I don't know if they're like session musicians that just tour with them, or if they actually have their own bands.
Well, I mean, but they are session musicians. Yeah. However, they're not like switching them up every single night. It is a core group of people that are there for the studio and the live performance. It's like the Rolling Stones, for instance. The Rolling Stones have their core group of people, but they also have a number of other musicians that play along with them each and every night that are very much as vital to the band. But you're not there to see the horn player. You're there to see Mick Jagger or Keith Richards. Yeah,
that's true. And even like one of my friends from Elder Scrolls Online, her name's Lyris. She is a violinist, and she plays with the Indigo Girls on tour.
Booyah.
Yeah, and so, she's not one of the Indigo Girls that started the group, but she's very much a part of the core sound. Mm-hmm. She's been like recording with them and touring with them for a few years now.
She has to be on the show now. If you're listening, we would love for you to be on the show. You have an open invitation. You hear the format. We would want to talk to you about your experience.
I really do need to ask her to do this.
I mean, we would love to just, we would just treat it like a regular episode, but she would have an own topic that she can bring, whether it's about life on the road or anything, and then we can talk about an album that she loves. Because why not talk to an active touring musician about music that they like? Because she's going to bring another focus that, neither of us are really going to think of.
Yeah.
And that, even if it's an album I don't really care for, I would still love to hear that.
Yeah, she's extremely talented. She streams on Twitch on a regular basis and does violin improvs for folks. You give her a theme.
Does she play the fiddle?
You give her a theme and she'll improv on it for 5 minutes or so, and it's really fun to listen to. But
country jazz,
she could do it. She's amazing. She's really talented, and she's a really nice person. So
she has an open invite. We would love to have her on at any time. So, all right. Look at that. We got another one in the books.
We got another show done. Oh my gosh. And I'm tired and I'm hungry. But I gotta stay awake because work. I'm an essential employee. I feel so loved. I just, what would be nice is if the government would recognize us essential employees and maybe no taxes for a year, or some extra cash thrown our way, rather than bailing out the cruise ship industry, none of which pay taxes in the U.S.
Oh, come on. If a shirtless Terry Crews came to the house by order of the U.S. government to give you a full body massage.
Well, that'd be nice too, but, it's not cold hard cash.
What if he massaged you with money? I don't know.
If he brought some money and a massage, that would be awesome. But then again, we're supposed to be social distancing right now, so there'll be no professional massages or haircuts or anything like that for a while.
Well, at least in the smart states.
Man, my hair is just crazy.
Not mine anymore.
Yeah, see, you can do the just shave it off thing, but no.
Yeah. I mean, with my male pattern baldness being the way it is, I don't think I would ever go I don't think I would ever go naturally completely bald. I think it would just stay essentially the way it is now.
You're just gonna keep a fringe. It'll just keep fringing.
Something like that. But I cannot let my hair grow out to a certain point. I judge it by the sideburns. Once my sideburns get to the bottom of my ear, it's time to cut it. Yeah, because by the time they get to the bottom of the ear, then I'm looking. I mean, you could put a cowboy hat and rhinestone shirt on me, and I would look like, here's Charlie Rich on Hee Haw, or something like that. I would look like a '70s country star with the sideburns.
Or Wolverine.
I know, it's me. No, I would not look like Wolverine. I would look like here's Tim Jousma with his new hit, Take This Job and Shove It.
Can I have Hugh Jackman come over and give me a massage instead of Terry Crews?
Okay.
All right, cool.
Good night, mate.
That'd be cool. Either one would be fine. I think I just want a professional massage is what it comes down to.
Kim's smiling at the moment. She's,
No, yeah. The thing is honestly, I'm just thinking in terms of the massage because I've been so friggin' tense for the last 2 months, basically. Yeah. I would just really like a professional massage, but no, it's all closed down right now, so no massage.
Mr. Jackman, get over here. Come here. You gotta give her a massage. Do it. It's for America. And I know you're not from America, but you gotta give her a massage because you're Wolverine. But he's Canadian, but you're doing it for America. Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense, but that's okay.
America.
America.
Nothing makes sense anymore.
Nothing makes sense anymore. Nothing makes sense anymore.
Yeah. All right. We will be back next week. We will get back into the swing of things of full-on album critiques, and it will be my choice.
You have any ideas? We'll just take that as
I have some ideas, but nothing. I mean, we could easily take the Black Sabbath album that we've been teasing for the past few weeks and kind of skipping on. But now I'm kind of like, do I really want to? You know?
Well, once Tim decides, we'll let you know.
Yeah. You can see us on our Facebook page. It's a group page, not a page. There is a difference there, but the group costs a lot less money and has a broader scope, broader reach. You got our Twitter page. You can find us on Twitter at FTNerdy.
I'm at Kim the Geek on Twitter.
We're on Instagram at FTNerdy666.
Oh, scary.
You can also find us on Discord, which you will find the link in the show description. Just if you already have the app, click on that. Come on to our Discord, chat with us. We want to hear what you want to say.
And if you're nerdy, you probably use Discord for something because, like, I use it for Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, so I mean, we try our best. It's still a work in progress, but we're trying our best to, have it to where we have some conversation going somewhere, even if it's just my son, having a little bit of fun.
He's a little weirdo, but that's okay.
Look at his father.
I know. I was going to say he's a chip off the big weirdo.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk to him the other day, and his hair looks like he has a hair helmet.
Oh, poor kid.
And he's 14 now, and he's got like the little "I had it, every guy has it," the little wisp of a mustache that's not exactly there yet, and it's just, I'm a man. Sure you are.
You're gonna give your kid a complex.
Well, no, he'll just laugh at me or something like that. I mean, you've seen some of his snow videos, for instance. He's the king of the non-joke. He finds stuff funny that you just shake your head like, what? But then you laugh just because he's so into the joke.
That's typical of kids that age, though.
Yeah, I mean, I know my humor wasn't as sophisticated then as it is now.
It's sophisticated? When did that happen?
Much more so than I used to be, let's put it that way.
Okay.
I steal from better material now,
Okay.
And I got some good voices, Like, come here. We're going to talk about this here album. That's going to be me next week, yeah.
Please, God, no.
We're going to be talking about some Kid Rock.
Save me! Save me!
Ball with the Ball is the greatest damn song in human history.
Oh, fuck that.
Why do you agree?
No.
Here's a duet with Toby Keith.
All right, we're done. That's enough.
All right, we are done for another week. So thank you all for listening.
Save me.
We all want you to, tune back into us again next week because we're here. We are here to give you a little bit of a reprieve from, what you're seeing on the news. So hopefully,
save me.
Come and save Kim. It puts the lotion on its skin, or it does the podcast again.
Pretty much. It's getting to that point, people. Save me. Save me.
All right, so we are done.
Yay.
We're done. And remember,
it's such a good feeling to know you're alive. It's such a happy feeling. You're growing inside, and when you wake up ready to say, I think I'll make a snappy new day. It's such a good feeling, a very good feeling. The feeling that I'll be back when the day is new. And I'll have more ideas for you. and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. I will too. You always make each day such a special day. You know how? By just your being you. Only one person in the whole world like you. That's you yourself. I'll be back next time. Bye-bye.
Subscribe to Friends Talking Nerdy on iTunes, the Google Play Music Store, as well as Spotify. Remember to support Friends Talking Nerdy on Patreon. Goodbye, darling.